Okay, all right. Thank you for reminding me about that, Cam. Yeah, we got a tornado warning on here for southwestern Searcy, southeastern Newton, northwestern Polk counties as well. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Moore, or 19 miles southeast of Jasper, moving northeast at about 50 miles per hour here. So Moore, also over here towards Wet Springs, also Snowball and Tilly. So you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. We've got 2 tornado warnings on the board. Take your tornado precautions at this current time here. So, just giving you guys a statewide view of what's going on. This is where these storms are going at this current time up here in northwestern Arkansas. This severe thunderstorm warning as well is tornado possible up here going towards the Mount Home area. So, if you know anyone in the Mount Home area, I know it's about 2 o'clock in the morning, they need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows, put as many walls to any outside as possible. Get to the lowest area of your home immediately here. Now, let's take a look at this. So you have 2 areas of rotation that you got to worry about. One near Western Grove right now, and that's going to go right over Highway 65, and it's going to go right towards Yellville. And then also, we have another tornado warning that's going to go right towards Marshall. So if you know anyone in these areas, they need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately at this current time here. And I think the one near Western Grove is standing out very, very intensely here. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and put our radar rotation indicator on with this one at this current time, and it's going to be right over Western Grove. So that's where you're going to have to watch very closely for that area of rotation here. Also, we have another one that's going to be just to the south of that area as well, and this was kind of the same one that we've been monitoring coming out of western Arkansas. That's going to go towards Marshall and Highway 65. So keep an eye on it. This is going to be 2 areas of rotation. I think the Western Grove one is going to be your strongest one out of the 2. However, we're going to have to keep an eye on that as it moves towards Yellville and then also towards Marshall and Leslie. So make sure you're taking your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows, put as many walls to you outside as possible. Get to the lowest area of your home immediately here. So give me 1 second. We'll put the manual tracking on this at this current time here. So let's take a look at this real quickly here. I'm going to start with this one up here because I think this one is going to be both are concerning, but this one looks to be the strongest out of the 2 right now. Luckily, I'm not seeing anything in terms of debris being indicated. However, with it being this far in range away from the radar, then what will end up happening is you will have to wait and see what ends up happening in this, because this is outside of Fort Smith's radar zone, because you can see with the purple right there, and Little Rock's radar zone is kind of overlapping. So this is what we call a radar loss zone up here, but it kind of tells the picture. So right through here, I'm just going to clock it right at 40 miles per hour at this point. So this is going to include Pendle, the Gassville area, Norfolk, and also Ellis up here in northern Arkansas. You need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. This thing could easily produce a tornado at any given moment. The conditions are favorable for supporting tornadoes, and please keep this in mind. This is in northern Arkansas, northwestern Arkansas. This is not in eastern or southern or anything like that. This area is in the slight risk area. This is what's supposed to be the low risk area, correct? So you can still get tornadoes in the slight risk area. You can still get tornadoes in the marginal risk. That's why we tell you guys that all the time. Classic setups like this. So this is going to continue to move to the northeast, Gassville. If you know anyone on Highway 62, Mountain Home, and also towards Norfolk, they need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately at this current time here. Now let's put a check on the second area of rotation down here. I'm going to clock it the same, about 40 miles per hour. It's going to go right towards Marshall, Leslie, and also a bit flat down here. It's going to go right over Highway 65 at this current time. So if you know anyone in this area, they need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. I do realize it's 2 o'clock in the morning. A lot of people are going to get, irritated and stuff like that when alerts going off, but you got to stay weather aware. This is what we were talking about. You've got to stay weather aware here. And I'm really starting to get concerned. Look how the second area of rotation is really starting to stand out at this point. As a matter of fact, not taking anything away from this one, but I want to kind of zoom in to this one right now here, because this one right here, let's show that. That's about 54 going in, and that's going to be about 34 outbound. So actually 34 in and then 54 out. So you can see right there, that'll be about 80 to 90 miles per hour. So that'll be a low-end tornado potential right through here, just to the west of 377 or just to the north of Highway 16 at this current time here. Also, we're going to have to keep an eye on this storm up here. We've got 2 areas of rotation that we're going to have to monitor. This one right here going away, it's going to be about 66 miles per hour going over 230. So that's going to be about 90 miles per hour where your area of rotation is going to be. So that is supportive of a weak tornado as well here. Going right over Pendle, and it's going to go right towards 235 and also 125 up here in northern Arkansas. So if you know anyone in these areas, they need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately. I cannot stress that enough. Like I said before, I do realize it's 2 o'clock in the morning. A lot of people are not awake. They're not tuning in and stuff like that. It's going to be up to those that are still with me to make sure they get up and make sure they stay with us during this event here. That's why we told you guys, make sure you keep your phones on and make sure you stay weather aware for today here. So what I've done, I've turned the counties on as well. So folks that are kind of asking about the counties kind of get a visual here. But this is the current track of both storms. Both are going right over Highway 65 at this current time. Also, the biggest thing I want to stress is take a look at the bottom of your screen. You have your tornado watch, your tornado warnings, your severe thunderstorm warnings. All that information is going to be at the bottom of your screen here, so keep that in mind. So Western Grove, you should be getting ready to get out of there in about the next 10 to 15 minutes. This is going to cross right over 65, and then the one just south of there, Marshall and Leslie. If you know anyone in Marshall and Leslie, 2 o'clock in the morning, blow their phones up, get them up. If you know anybody in this area, they need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately. But I want to stress right now, this is in the slight risk area. This is not in the enhanced. This is not in the 10% hash for strong tornadoes. This is in the low risk area, the low tornado risk area, and you're seeing these tornado warnings going off. So keep that in mind. Both areas of rotation easily could get the job done across the area here. So the tornado warning up there is going to go until 2:30 this morning. That's going to go for northwestern. Give me 1 second to move this off so you guys kind of see the screen. So northwestern Searcy, northeastern Newton County, southwestern Marion County as well. So this is going to actually move towards more Marion County than Searcy County. Searcy County, you're going to miss the first storm, but the second one coming from the southwest, you're going to have to watch that closely as it moves towards the north and east here. So keep that in mind at this current time here. But both tornado warnings on the board at this point. We also have that severe thunderstorm warning that does have that tornado possible tag as well. This is going to go until 2 o'clock this morning. So you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. If you know anyone in these areas, you need to get them up at this time here. Now let's take a look at our debris indicator. And boy, I would say the one just southwest of Marshall, I wouldn't be surprised. Matter of fact, let's match that up to our area of rotation. I would not be shocked if that one is either on the ground or is doing something, because I'm picking up some debris being indicated right here just southwest of Marshall. So we're going to have to watch that situation closely here, but I wouldn't be surprised to see an extension of this tornado warning at this current time here. So tornado warning for northeastern Polk County has been canceled. The other one is still going to be continuing to 2:30. Also, these storms are producing ping-pong-sized hail as well, so you're going to have to watch out for the hail threat up here in northwestern Arkansas, northern Arkansas. However, this is where your concern is as well. So you got Marshall, Leslie, and then you got just to the east of Western Grove, southwest of Yellville, southwest of Mount Home, southwest of Flipping at this time, and southern and southwest of 412. So if you know anyone in these areas, they need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately at this current time. And now, give me just 1 second. I'm going to see if we have another radar that we could use to give me a better visual on what we're looking at here. So give me 1 second. I'm going to switch this over to Springfield's radar for just a second here, kind of see what we can do, because this is outside of Fort Smith. This is outside of Little Rocks. I think I would say, there we go. There's Springfield's radar. So Springfield would give us a better visual on what we're looking at here. So this is Western Grove. There's your area of rotation, and then you've got one near Marshall at this current time. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at this. This is going to be your debris indicator here. Set 4. You're kind of in that radar loss zone up here. You're kind of between radar sites at this time, so you're not really going to get a big picture on what this storm is actually doing. But the biggest thing is you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately at this time. Anyone in Marshall, Leslie, over here towards Stone County, northwestern, western Stone County, and also southern Marion, and I would say Baxter County, you need to watch this storm as well. This is going to continue to move to the northeast at about 45 to 50 miles per hour here, okay? So we got a new report from Newton County Fire Department Rescue report. Thunderstorm damage. Debris was noted along down trees in Fallsville at this time. So that was in Newton County, just northeast of Fallsville at this current time. So these storms do have a history of producing damage. So keep that in mind here, regardless if it's thunderstorm damage or tornado damage. they're under a tornado warning, and you can still get this thing to touch down any given moment here. But I wouldn't be shocked, especially with that storm earlier on that went through Newton County, that was a tornado. But regardless, if you're in that tornado warning, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately at this time. As I said before, I do realize it is 2 o'clock in the morning. A lot of people are not tuning in and stuff like that. That's perfectly fine. Just make sure whoever's in the warning, make sure they have a game plan ready to go. Make sure they get up as well here. New severe thunderstorm warning in place. That's going to go for central Searcy County. That's going to include Marshall and Leslie. I would consider this as like a tornado possible. It's not really, there's no tag for it. However, I'd consider a tornado possible because this storm does have a history of producing rotation, even strong rotation back, and when it was in northern Pope County, POPE. So I would keep an eye on that. If you know anyone on 65, continue to take that tornado precaution just to be on the safe side. I know it's a severe thunderstorm warning, but still this thing was warned, and in the environment that it's in, it can easily produce once again. So we're going to have to watch that close. And then up here towards Yaleville, we're going to have to watch this system as well. This one is just to southwest Yaleville. Look at your area of rotation, by the way. Right in here is not even mistaken where your area of rotation would be. That would be right there, just to the east of Western Grove at this current time. I'm gonna put the tornado thing on here as well. It's gonna be right in there. That's where your tornado potential is gonna be, and that's gonna be just southwest of Yaleville, southwest of Mount Home at this current time. And what I'm gonna do for you guys as well is we're gonna put a track on this potential tornado here. So we're gonna put it right here. We're gonna clock it at about 40 miles per hour to the northeast here. So if you know anyone in the following, that's gonna be Gadsville, that's Mount Home, that's Norfolk, and also Ellis. They need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows, put as many walls to you on the outside as possible, get to the lowest area of your home immediately here. Now have a new tornado warning here down here in Searcy County. I figured they were either going severe thunderstorm warning or tornado warning. I was wondering what was going on with that here. So we have a new tornado warning that was in place here. Let me double check that and make sure that is a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning. I do believe. Okay, so that is a severe thunderstorm warning here. Let me double check and see what they're doing with this, because I'm not sure if that was a severe thunderstorm warning or it's supposed to be a tornado warning in here. And I know that's a tornado warning back here, but right now I consider it just because of the area of rotation. I would consider this a severe thunderstorm warning. However, we're just going to have to keep an eye on it. Let's see what happens with that. But regardless, still take your tornado precautions because this thing can still produce a tornado at any given moment here, okay? So this is the area of rotation as well. This one's more concerning, I would say, versus this one down here because this one's moving into Marion County as well. And also, I want to note, this severe thunderstorm warning is tornado possible as well. So keep that in mind here. That's a severe thunderstorm warning. It is tornado possible at this current time. And that's going to go to 2:45. Now, my alert bar just went off and said there's a tornado warning for this area until 3 o'clock. I do believe okay, so this is what they did. That is got to be the most, that's crazy. Okay, so what happened is the tornado warning, and I believe I can do this. Give me 1 second. So we're going to take this severe thunderstorm warning off for just a second. There's the tornado warning. I knew something was off, so basically what happened, it was probably an error on their end. Somebody accidentally put a severe thunderstorm warning out, and it's supposed to be a tornado warning. So the tornado warning and the severe thunderstorm warning were overlapped right at the exact same time. So I had to turn the severe thunderstorm warnings off to see the tornado warning. So tornado warning now for Marshall in the Leslie area. I knew something was off with that. I was trying to figure out what was going on here. So there's a tornado warning at this time here. It's going to go for Highway 65. That's Marshall in the Leslie area. Same thing we've been harping for the last couple of minutes. You need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows. Put as many walls to you outside as possible. Get to the lowest area of your home immediately. Also, if you know anyone up here in southern Marion County as well, they need to be taking their tornado precautions at this current time. We're going to keep an eye on the situation. And so right now, I do believe, and we're going to double check that real quick. I'm not seeing any sort of reports that this is on the ground or anything like that. Now, I will say this, it's about 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, we don't have a lot of people out chasing or anything like that. So just kind of keep that in mind here. Some of these reports may not come through until first thing tomorrow morning. But regardless, if you're in a tornado warning or not, you still need to be taking this seriously. You still need to have that game plan ready to go. And if you are in this tornado warnings, you need to be seeking shelter immediately at this current time here. So this is the tornado warning. It kind of got substituted for the tornado warning instead of it being severe thunderstorm warning. So Marshall, Leslie, you now under that tornado warning. Yellville up here, you're going to have to watch this closely as well. We're going to zoom this out. And this is going to move to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour here. So we have 2 tornado warnings on the board. The rest are going to be severe thunderstorm warnings as well. We're also going to have to keep an eye on these storms over here in western and northwestern Polk County at this current time here. But these 3 storms, or these 3 tornado warnings, are going to be the ones that we're going to have to watch very closely. And this tornado warning is probably if it's getting ready to expire. This one's going to be the downstream warning for that. And then you have the other one up here in Marion County at this current point. Both of these, this one's going to go until 2:30. And then this one over here is going to go until 3 o'clock this morning. So take your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows. Put as many walls to the outside as possible. And get to the lowest area of your home immediately. And now I will say this one right just to the southwest of Yellville, still exhibiting strong rotation at this current time. Easily can produce a tornado at any given moment. I will do this. Let's see if we can switch this over to Little Rock's radar for just a bit. And I'm going to see if Little Rock's radar gives us a little bit more of injustice to see what it does with this tornado warning up here. But right now, as before, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. There's the area of rotation right there. So you still have one down here near Marshall and Leslie. Regardless if this one looks stronger or not, you still need to be taking your tornado precautions, especially along Highway 65. If you know anybody in Marshall, blow their phones up. I'd rather for them to get mad at you by blowing their phones up and nothing happens than you not texting them and not calling them and something does happen in the Marshall area. So keep that in mind here. But if you know anyone in Marshall and Leslie, they need to be taking their tornado precautions now at this point. Tornado warning going straight into downtown Marshall. And then we're going to have to watch this one closely. This one should track just south of Yellville. But Yellville, you still need to be in place. But Highway 14, where you see your green and your red kind of combine as one, that's where you have that tornado potential. You're going to have to watch that closely as this continues to move out towards the east here. So this is going to track south of Yellville, northeast of Pendle, north of Gilbert, northwest of Big Flat, south of Gadsville, and south of Flipping, and it's moving northeast at about 40 miles per hour here. So this is going to go right over Highway 14 at this point. You can see it as clear as day where your green and your red kind of combine as one when you're seeing the area of rotation here. As a matter of fact, we can put our rotation tracker on it. You can see it. It's about right in here. And you can see it's clear as day. That's where you're getting that area of rotation here. And that's where you can easily get a tornado to develop in that area here. So we're going to watch that Yellville storm very, very, very closely. As a matter of fact, we're going to do this. So this is about 66 incoming. And it is, excuse me, this is about, I would say, about 40 at this point. So that's equal to about a little over 100 miles per hour gate-to-gate shear with this, which is just south of Yellville. So this is supportive of a weak tornado down here just south and west of Yellville at this point, and that's going to continue to move out towards the northeast here. So if you know anyone in those areas, they need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately at this current time here. Now, we're going to zoom this out and bear me for just a bit, and we're going to take a look at this other storm down here, not take anything away for those up there in northern Arkansas here, but the Marshall area, Highway 65, this is the area of concern as well. This is just to the east of Highway 377. That's going to go right over Marshall. I mean, straight into downtown Marshall. So if you know anyone in these areas, give me one second. They need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately at this current time. So I'm going to put a track on this real quickly. That's going to go through here. Let me see if I can zoom this out and put a track on here. That's going to be about 40 miles per hour. So that's going to go right over downtown Marshall, and also it's going to go over Big Flat, and also 56 up here in northern Arkansas. If you know anyone in these areas, they need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately. We're going to go ahead and put a zoom down to this, kind of give you guys some rows at this point. This is going to go right over, give me 1 second. This is going to go right over Highway 333. We've got Highway 27 over here, also Highway 65 that runs straight out of Marshall, goes down to Leslie, etc. And also this is going to stay also on Highway 27. So this should track just to slightly just to the north to 27. We're probably going to go over 27, but it's definitely going to go over Highway 333 up here in Searcy County here. So this is going to be something we're going to have to watch, and this is also going to continue to track to the northeast towards Bent Flat, towards 56. This is in northern Stone County, southern Baxter County, and it's going to try to make its way towards Izard County. So if you know anyone in Izard County, keep an eye on this storm. It's 2 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday. I understand, but you're going to have to watch the situation very, very closely here. So now we have a new, give me 1 second. We have a new tornado warning that's in place. This one's going to go until 3 o'clock up here as well. And I know what they're doing here. They had a severe thunderstorm warning, and then it got replaced with a tornado warning. So this is something that we're going to have to watch very closely here. But this right in here, this is what you're going to have to watch. That area of rotation that's just south of Yellville, and it's going to continue to move out towards the east at this current time. That's going to go right over Highway 14, and it's also going to go over Highway 126 as well, and also 341 at this current point. Now, for those that are in Clinton, down here in Van Buren County, I'm getting a lot of questions about, is it going to track towards Van Buren County and stuff like that? That is going to be a no. This is staying away from Van Buren County. This is staying well away also from Cleburne County, etc. But if you know anyone in Stone or in southern Baxter County or in Searcy and also Marion counties, they need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately. So we have 4 tornado warning polygons on the board at this current time. We're going to go back over to our radar, and you can see as clear as day, there's your area of rotation here. And it's going to continue to move towards the Bit Flag area and also towards 56, and it's going to go as if the trajectory continues, it's going to go towards Melbourne at this point. So something that we're going to have to watch very closely at this current time here. But there's an extension of this warning up here at this point that's going to go for the Norfolk area and also just south of Mount Home, and it's going to continue to move towards Baxter County and also Fulton County and northwestern Izard County. Is going to have to watch this situation very closely at this current time here. But I do think out of the two, the Marshall storm down here has a better shot with the environment versus this one, because you're competing to see which one's going to produce the area of rotation at this point. And also, I do fully aware that sirens are going off at Mount Home. At this point, I'd go ahead and seek shelter just to be on the safe side. There's nothing wrong with doing that. If you're hearing those sirens going off at 2 o'clock in the morning, take them seriously and go and get in the shelter. This should stay south of Mount Home, but I'm not going to risk it. I'm not going to put you guys in jeopardy like that. So if you know anyone on 412 or in the Mount Home area, even if it's just to the north, take that tornado safe place just to be on the safe side. If it goes south of your area, that's going to be fine and dandy. But if you don't, then at least you're repaired at this current time here. So we're going to have to watch the situation closely. This is the one near Marshall at this current time here. We're going to keep an eye on that. I'm going to put a track on the one up here towards Mount Home. And this one, as a matter of fact, let me make sure I've got this correct in terms of trajectory here. So the tornado warning is going to go until 3 o'clock. It's moving northeast at about 45 miles per hour. So the area of rotation is going to be indicated here. Moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. So that's going to take it on a track that's just to the south. I mean, just to the south of Mount Home. Mount Home, you're very, very close call. But also the Valonia area, not Valonia, up there towards Fulton County, and also Salem. I'd say Salem, you need to watch this storm closely up there in central Fulton County. But Mount Home, it is just to the south. I mean, very, very close to Mount Home going into central Baxter County. But I wouldn't risk it. If you're at Mount Home, I'd definitely be taking your tornado precautions immediately. And also, the one down here just to the south towards Marshall, you're going to have to watch this situation closely. That's going to go towards Bit Flat and also towards northwestern Stone County, and it's going to go towards Izard County at this current time here as well. We also will have additional cells that are going up in Pope County at this time, POPE. We're going to have to watch those closely as well. They may try to exhibit rotation over the next 1 to 2 hours. That's going to go towards Van Buren and also towards Stone County with time here. But this one here, we're going to go back over to our rotation indicator, and there it is. So there's your area of rotation up here near the Yellville area, and then you have this one down here. And I'm very concerned for my folks in Marshall. Marshall, if you have not sought shelter yet, you need to do it as soon as possible. There's the area of rotation. I mean, it's going to go right over downtown Marshall. Like, you cannot get any closer than where you are right now. So I'm going to calculate this about 42 miles per hour just to be on the safe side. Marshall is going to be on top of you in about 10 minutes. I mean, if you know anybody in Marshall, blow their phones up to Kingdom Come. I promise you. I'd rather for them to be mad at you for doing that and nothing happens than for you not to text them or call them and then something happens like this. Because this area of rotation is going right over downtown Marshall. So if you know anybody in those areas that need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately, this is also going to go towards Bit Flat, also 50 cents, and then Callil Rock over here. That's going to be up there in northern Stone County at this point. So something to watch very closely. As a matter of fact, not northern Stone County. That's going to be right on that line, southwestern Izard County. That's going to move towards that area here. It's going to be in Izard County within the next 1 to 2 hours. So if you know anyone in the Melbourne area, they're kind of sitting pretty right now, tell them about this storm. Give them that 1 hour heads up. Say, hey, this is what's coming. You might want to get yourself ready because this environment is very capable of producing severe weather as it continues throughout the night here. So keep that in mind at this point. Also, the ones down here has already went severe thunderstorm warn. That's going to go for Pope County, POPE, and also Van Buren County over here as well. So something to keep in mind at this point. Also, that's the report that's going to go for 60-mile-per-hour winds and also a little over an inch of hail down here in southern, down here in Polk County and Van Buren and southern Searcy County at this current time here. We're going to have to watch this because you're starting to see some signs of potential rotation within the line itself. So you got to keep an eye on that. A couple of these could go toward Warren as they continue to move on towards the northeast here. So we're going to keep an eye on that situation here. But I would say right now, if you know anybody, I mean anyone in downtown Marshall, they need to be seeking shelter right now. I cannot stress that enough. All right, so before I do realize it's 2 o'clock in the morning, not a lot of people are going to be up and running with us. That's perfectly fine. But in this situation, you need to get them on the phone at this point and tell them to seek shelter at this current time here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put some roads up. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get this going. And there's the roads at this point. So that's going to be Highway 33. The area of rotation right now is sitting right there on Searcy 244 Highway. At this point, it's moving northeast. So it's going to move towards southern and also downtown Marshall. So it's going to go right over County Road 37, Highway 333. And then it's going to move into Marshall within the next 20 to 30. Take that back. About the next 5 to 10 minutes. I don't know why I was trying to say 20 to 30 minutes, but 5 to 10 minutes. So if you know anybody in this area, they need to be taking their tornado precautions now. I mean, right now. You need to get them on the phone, do whatever you can, but they need to be taking their tornado precautions at this point. Like I said before, not taking anything away from the one up here in Yellville at this point. This one's going to be the area of rotation itself. It's going to be right there on County Road 6022. This is going to continue to move to the northeast here. So if you know anyone on Highway 101 up here, they need to be taking their tornado precautions as well. What I'm going to do for just a second, we're going to zoom this out. There's the area of rotation. You can't miss it. It's sticking out like a sore thumb. It's going to go right over Highway 101, Highway 126 up here, Highway 201, and then Highway 5 up here. That's going to go towards Norfolk and also the Ellis area, which should just say just south of Mount Home. But I would not risk it at this point. You need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows, put as many walls to you on the outside as possible, get to the lowest area of your home immediately at this point. So let me double check and make sure we're not really seeing any reports, which is awesome news. However, the conditions across eastern Arkansas are favorable for tornadoes. I want to stress that right now. They're continuing the tornado watch until 5 o'clock this morning. I'm pretty sure this tornado watch is probably going to get extended. They see what's going on up here in northern and northwestern Arkansas. It's probably going to get extended within time. So we're going to keep an eye on that. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 tornado warnings. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings as well for Polk County and Van Buren. We also have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings of Searcy up there in Marion County at this current time here. And I'm going to keep an eye on this Polk County storm here, POPE, not Polk County down there in southwestern Arkansas. Pope, P-O-P-E, like the Russellville, Arkansas area, the Pope County area up here in northwestern Arkansas. I'm going to monitor this. It's going to be right there on Highway 7. This is something that we're going to have to keep an eye on here. Severe thunderstorm warning right now, but if that area continues to strengthen, I wouldn't be shocked to see a tornado warning get issued for Pope County and also Van Buren County up there in western Van Buren County. So Highway 65 once again between Marshall and the Clinton area. You need to be watching this situation closely. Like I mentioned before, we're going to watch all of these storms go up throughout the morning hours of your Thursday here. So monitoring both storms right now. Marshall, if you know anybody, I mean anyone at this time in Marshall, get them on the phone. Do whatever you got to do. You got to get them in shelter right now. Tornado, the area of rotation is going right through downtown Marshall. Marshall, you have about, if you're lucky, 5 minutes, maybe less from there. So you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately at this time. Also, like I said before, we got this area of rotation up here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this over to our debris indicator here. Now, here's some good news. I'm not seeing any sort of debris. I'm not seeing any sort of, anything being lofted up into the atmosphere, which is awesome. The problem is if this thing touches down even for a brief moment, the radar's probably not going to be able to pick up that brief debris. So, and also in this area, you're what we're calling a radar loss zone. You've got northern Arkansas, central, and then western Arkansas, while your radars kind of loop over each other. So it may not be able to accurately depict if you're seeing debris or not. So Marshall, treat this like this on the ground. Get them to shelter immediately at this point. So we have a new mesoscale discussion from the Storm Prediction Center here. And they have highlighted northern Arkansas for the greater tornado threat in the near term here. So it's a hatched area for the tornado threat up here in north central Arkansas. Keep in mind, you guys were not in the enhanced risk area. You guys were supposed to be the low tornado threat. We know how that goes every time. So keep that in mind here up there in northern Arkansas. I'll have more information with that coming up shortly. But they're saying a hail damaging wind and a tornado threat should continue over the next couple of hours. Like I said before, eastern and southern Arkansas, it doesn't mean you're done. It doesn't mean you're not going to see anything. But just keep in mind that northern Arkansas, this is your show at this current point. Excuse me. So this is going to track just to the south and west of Gasville at this time. There's the area of rotation here. What we're going to do is we're going to let's go back to our rotation indicator real quick. It's going to be right in here. It's going to be just to the southwest of Gasville at this point. It's going to continue to move to the west here. So I'm going to put the track of this one. We're going to calculate that. I'm going to put it about 40 miles per hour. Let's put about 40 miles per hour at this point. That's going to go towards Norfolk, Ellis, and then Oxford up here, which is in northern Izard County. Izard County, I've been warning y'all for like the last 20 minutes that you need to pay attention to these storms, and that's what's going to happen. Luckily, if you're in Mount Home, I know the tornado sirens are going off. This should stay south of Mount Home at this point. However, don't let your guard down. If you're in Mount Home, what I would do to be on the safe side, let this storm pass. Let it pass to your south and then emerge out of your tornado shelter. That's what I would do at this point. I wouldn't get out and go around at this point. And also, I want to stress this as well. This is 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's pitch black dark outside. You're not going to see the tornado. So don't bother trying to go out and see it or get footage or anything like that. The best thing I want to tell you, seek shelter. That's the biggest thing I can tell you at this current time. You need to seek shelter at this current point. So there's the area of rotation here. Also, I'm going to keep an eye on these storms down here. I'd say anyone on Highway 27 between right there at Hector, keep an eye on that storm. I'll be very interested to see what they end up doing with that. It's not consolidated just yet, but it is broad rotation just to the northwest of Hector at this point. But Marshall, you need to be in shelter right now. I cannot stress that. It's going right over Marshall at this point. I'm going to put it at about 56 going inbound. I'd say about 35 going outbound. So that's about, I would say, easily about 85 to 90 miles per hour gate to gate. That'd be your area of rotation. So it'd be supportive of a weak tornado going through that area here. So keep that in mind if you know anybody in the Marshall area. They need to be in shelter immediately. Like, don't waste any time. Don't go try to look for it or anything like that. It's going to be right on top of you very, very soon if you're in the Marshall area here. So take your tornado precautions immediately at this current time. Also, if you know anyone in the Norfolk area, you're going to have to watch this closely as well. You're going to keep an eye on that. The area of rotation is still going. It is just south and west of the Gasville area, or just south of Mount Home, moving to the east at this point. This is going to be towards Norfolk, the Ellis area, and also towards Salem here. So Ellis areas across the state. Let's do this. Let's go over to our radar at this point. And this is what we've got. We've got all those cells across northern and northwestern Arkansas. Southwestern Arkansas, you're not really seeing much. But central, eastern, and southern Arkansas, as you can see on the bottom of your screen, you still have the tornado watch till 5 o'clock in the morning. So you still have that potential of seeing severe weather throughout late tonight into the early part of your Thursday morning. So keep that in mind. This event is not over with just yet. If you're just now tuning in, I'm Assistant Chief Forecaster Cameron. It's 2:30 in the morning, and you guys know full well that we've got tornado warnings across northern Arkansas at this current time, and we're monitoring everybody else across the state. But right now, our priority is going to go up here towards northern Arkansas, towards Searcy, the Marion County area, and also Baxter County at this current time here. So the Gasville area, this is just southwest of Mount Home. Mount Home, like I said before, the sirens are probably going off in Mount Home. Take those seriously. I know this is tracking just to yourself, but just to be on the safe side, because you can never tell. Because I can say this, if this thing does this, it goes right through there. If it makes that hard right turn, it's going to go right into those areas here. So keep that in mind. We also have a new tornado warning that has just been issued, and I told you guys over here in Stone and also southern Baxter County, you're going to have to watch this storm closely. So this is going to go for Bit Flat, and also 56 over here just north of in northern Stone County. At this time, that's going to go until 3:15 this morning. And I told you guys that's that track we had before. This is the Marshall storm going over this area here. So this is what we've got at this time here. You need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows. Put as many walls to uni outside as possible. Get to the lowest area of your home immediately at this point. Also, if you guys are having any issues with the live stream, get out of Facebook, get out of YouTube, and then come back. I'm checking everything on our side over here, and nothing's wrong. I don't see any issues on our side. So if you're not seeing anything, you may have to back out. Facebook is weird with this stuff here. So this is what we've got. But the new tornado warning is now in effect across this area here. This is going to go into Searcy and also northern Stone County and southern Baxter County up here in northern Arkansas. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back over to our area of rotation in Marshall. It's on top of you right now if you're in Marshall. So you should already been in shelter. We gave you 25 minute heads up notice. You should have already been there. But if you're in Bit Flat, or you are in 56, or you're even in northern Stone County, or you know anybody in northern Stone County, they need to be seeking shelters immediately. I will say the storm to the north, the Norfolk area, northern Izard County, you need to be watching that storm closely, and I believe that's going to go into southern Fulton County as well. That's going to go right towards 412 for too much longer. Horseshoe Bend, that area is classic for seeing tornadic cells here. You need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately at this point. If you know anyone in those areas, give them that heads up. This is why we do these tracks, because you can give them heads up before the warning gets issued. But I'm fully anticipating to see an extension of that warning go into southern Baxter County, northwestern Izard, and southwestern Fulton County at this current time here. But the new tornado warning is going to go until 3:15 this morning. Give me 1 second. Let me put my phone on charger at this point. But other than that, right now, I'm not seeing any sort of tornado reports or anything like that, which is awesome. Let me double check that on Twitter. At this time, I'm not seeing any sort of reports that it's on the ground or anything like that. That's great news. However, if you guys hear anything, let me know. At this point, I'm not really seeing anything in terms of it being on the ground. I do not have any new severe thunderstorm watch. It's going to go for Franklin, Johnson, Logan, Montgomery, Polk, also Scott, Sebastian, and Yale counties until 5 o'clock. That's down there in southwestern and west central Arkansas. We'll address that once these tornado warnings are off the board. But if you know anyone in the Norfolk area here, you need to be in shelter right now. This is an area of rotation. As a matter of fact, we're going to take a look at this. This is our debris indicator at this point. This storm has really started to intensify really fast here. And I will say, let's match this up to our thing here. So there's the area of rotation. Right now, I'm not seeing anything of it being on the ground, but there's the area right there. That's going to be right over, give me 1 second, that's going to be 56 outbound, inbound, That's going to be 40 outbound. So that's going to be roughly about 90-ish miles per hour. So that's supportive of a weak tornado up here. But you can definitely see where the area of rotation is going to be. That's going to be just to the west of Marion County, 60-64. And this is also going to go towards Highway 126 as well. So you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows. Put as many walls to uni outside as possible. Get to the lowest area of your home immediately at this current time here. I do have, by the way, a chaser that's going to be trying to get footage and get me reports of that at this point. So he stays at Mount Home. He's going to be trying to get this storm Luckily, I got him up at 2:30 in the morning, but he's going to be tracking this storm with us as well. So he's going to be feeding me reports at this time. But that one right there towards Norfolk, also northwestern Izzard, and also Fulton County. You need to watch that storm close. And I will say, this area in here, I would probably just go ahead and just slap a tornado warning out for this particular area. So if you know anyone in Norfolk or also northern Izzard or just south of 412 up here, they need to be in shelter right now. I cannot stress that. Also, we're gonna watch this storm closely. It just moved over Marshall. Marshall, I'm hoping you're good to go. But you did have an area rotation go right over Marshall. Now this is gonna make its run towards Bit Flat up here, and that is in northwestern. Actually, no, it's not. This is in southern Baxter County up here, and it's going to go towards northern Stone County at this point. So this is going to be the tornado warning, and there it is. We have a brand new tornado warning, and I told you guys that was getting ready to happen. That's going to go from Norfolk up here. That is in central Baxter County. That's going to go until 3 o'clock this morning, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour here, and you cannot disagree with this tornado warning here because the area of rotation is just, it is strong. I'm really shocked that this thing is not on the ground. So if you know anybody in this area, they need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows, put as many walls to the outside as possible, get to the lowest area of your home immediately at this point. Also, I'm taking a look at our viewers on Facebook and YouTube. 500 at 2:30 in the morning. I appreciate each and every single one of y'all being here and sharing this crucial information, guys. We've got a full-blown tornado event going on across northern Arkansas. You guys weren't even in the enhanced risk. You were in a slight risk, but we've been stressing all day that this was the potential, and this is what we've got. So if you know anyone in the following areas, they need to be seeking shelter immediately. That's going to be Baxter County. That's going to be Fulton County, Izzard County. Also, that's going to be Stone County as well. Searcy County, you need to stay where you are. And I will say this, for my folks in Pope and Van Buren County, yes, this is a severe thunderstorm warning. However, if this continues to strengthen, you may see a tornado warning down here. So if you keep an eye on that if you're in Van Buren County at this time here. But Baxter, Fulton, Izzard, Stone, Searcy counties, you need to be in shelter right now. Blow their phones up. It's 2:30 in the morning. Get them on the phone. Do whatever you got to do to get them in shelter at this current time. So we're going to go from north to south, put a track on every single one of these storms here. But I'm going to start with the one up here because this is going to be the strongest out of the potential 3 at this time here. But Ellis and Norfolk, you need to be in shelter right now. I cannot stress that enough at this point. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to our rotation indicator, and I'm going to put a brand new spanking track on this one. And this is going to be calculated at about northeast at 40 miles per hour. So this is going to go, give me 1 second. It's going to allow me to do it without zooming out. Let's see. So it's going to be right here. Salem, Norfolk, Ellis, and it's Salem. Salem, you've got time on your hands. About 3:36 it's going to be there. But I wouldn't wait. I wouldn't wait that long. Go ahead, get them up. It's 2:30 in the morning. If any one of those areas, they're probably going to be asleep. Blow their phones up. Say, hey, there's a tornado warning in Baxter County. You need to be taking your tornado precautions now. Take this time that you have now, because there will probably be an extension of this tornado warning that's going to go for also these areas up here in Fulton, and also that's going to be towards Izzard County as well. Also, we've got another storm down here that we're going to have to watch. This one just went right over Marshall. Marshall, I've been harping you guys to seek shelter. You should be good to go now. You should be able to come out of your shelters now if you're in the Marshall area. But if you're in Bit Flat or you're in northern Stone County, you need to be seeking shelter immediately. I cannot tell you enough at this point. But we're going to have to watch this very, very closely at this current time here. But Bit Flat and also 56, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows. Put as many walls to unity outside as possible. Get to the lowest area of your home immediately here. So we're going to put a track on this one. And this one's going to go right towards Melbourne. The Melbourne area we've been talking about over the last 20 to 30 minutes. Bit Flat, 56, Melbourne. You need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows. Put as many walls to unity outside as possible. Get to the lowest area of your home immediately at this point. Also, that LU severe thunderstorm warning is going to toward pause. That's going to go to 3:15. I do believe they're going to drop these because that tornadic storm has left. As a matter of fact, no, it hasn't. There's now a new area trying to get going just to the southwest of Marshall that we're going to have to watch. So this one's going, but you've got a new area of concern that has continued to develop just southwest of Marshall. So Marshall, take back what I said. stay in shelter, stay where you are, because we do have a new storm that just developed and is starting to rotate down here just southwest of Marshall. So I wouldn't be shocked to see an extension of another tornado warning that may get issued for the Marshall area. So if you know anywhere in Marshall, get back into shelter at this current point. The first storm has gotten out of the way, but we're concerned about the second one coming in. Leslie, this should stay to your north, but I wouldn't risk it. Stay where you are. And if you're in the Leslie area, take your tornado precautions immediately here. But now we've got this one up here. We're going to have to watch this very closely. This is going to go towards the 201 area. Highway 5 up here. This is Ellis, Norfolk. This is south of Mount Home. This is going to go towards Veolia up there, and also Salem. Salem, I'm really worried about that area up there on 4. I believe that is going to be Highway 62, not 412. Highway 62 up here in Fulton County. So take those tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows. Put as many walls to uni outside as possible. Get to the lowest area of your home immediately. And now I see what's going on here. You have a separation of areas of rotation in the Marshall area. You've got one going straight into Stone, southern Baxter County, and also towards Izard County. Then you have another area that's trying to get going just southwest of Marshall. That's going to move to the northeast, similar to where the first storm kind of went through. So Marshall, stay where you are. The environment is capable of producing tornadoes. And I would dare say up here, you would have to keep an eye out for the potential for a strong tornado or two. Elsewhere across the state, let's take a look, kind of statewide view, kind of ease some minds right now, because we can have a lot of tornado warnings ongoing. Only areas is going to be up there in north central Arkansas right now, but we're watching central and eastern Arkansas. We've got some storms starting to bubble up. These are going to be the storms that we're going to have to watch over the next 2 to 4 hours for a tornado potential across central and eastern and southern Arkansas. But northern Arkansas right now is still in the spotlight in terms of the tornado warning potential. We've got Marion, Baxter, Izard, and also Cherokee County at this time here. And I would say this, not taking anything away from this storm up here, but Marshall, you need to be in shelter right now. That's producing some serious hail just to the west of Marshall at this point. What we're going to do is we're going to put a debris indicator on there, and I will say this, that's going to be an area right there. We may have to watch that. That may be a brief tornado trying to get going once again just to the southwest of Marshall. Good call by the National Weather Service to go tornado possible, severe thunderstorm warning with this one here. But this is going to be capable of producing, demonstrate now considerable in this area, 2-inch hail. Tornado is possible in this area here, and the movement is moving to the northeast at about 50 miles per hour. So if you know anyone in this area and they need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately, get away from windows, put as many walls to uni outside as possible, and get to the lowest area of your home immediately at this current point. So give me just 1 second. Let me double check everything at this current time here. But right now, I do believe we're good. I'm not seeing any sort of issues on our side. I'm just double checking everything right now to make sure that we're good. I'm not seeing any sort of issues here. So if y'all have any issues, just let me know. But right now, I haven't heard anything on our side at this point. So let me see here. Okay, so now I'm getting they're going to be sending me video of this storm at this point. But yeah, this one down here, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately at this current time here. We're going to take a look. I'm going to take a look at this one. This is going to be Norfolk once again. There's your area of rotation. It is clear as day. It's just southwest of 201 and just to the west of Norfolk, or just southwest of Ellis, due south of Mount Home. Mount Home, stay where you are. Just take the tornado shelter. Just to be on the safe side, it's going to go south of you, but just you always want to go on that urge side of caution whenever you're dealing with something like this. But anyone on 201, 341, you need to be in shelter right now. Let me take a look at your debris indicator right now. Right now, I'm not seeing any sort of indication that this is on the ground. The problem is, this is on the northern side of Little Rock's radar, which means Little Rock's radar is not getting a good handle on what's going up here in northern Arkansas. So if you know anyone in these areas, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately at this point. Also, let's take a look at the storm just to the south at this point. This one right here is going to go right towards Bitfly. I mean, it is going, that's the same storm that went through Marshall just about 15 to 20 minutes ago. That's going to go towards northwestern Stone County, and I do believe that is going to be southern Baxter County, and that's southern Baxter County, and it's going to go towards Izard County. So, Melbourne, time is on your side right now. Time is definitely on your side if you're in Melbourne right now. Use it. Don't wait for it. Don't go outside and try to see it. You're not going to see it, obviously, because it's 2 o'clock in the morning. It's pitch black. Take the time now. Seek your tornado precautions immediately here. But if you know anyone in Marshall, right now, no current tornado warning in place. However, treat this severe thunderstorm warning as if it were a tornado, because you have the thunderstorm damage threat of considerable. You have hail upwards to 2 inches in diameter, which could do some serious damage, by the way. I've been hit with one before. And also the potential, also this storm moving about 50 miles per hour, heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning with the storm as well. So if you know anyone in this area, take your tornado precautions, get into shelter. Just because it's a bit thunderstorm warning, I mean squat, it does have the potential of producing a tornado. So get into shelter immediately at this current time here. Also, as I said before, we're going to watch this storm down here in Polk County and also in Van Buren. No tornado warning on this one just yet. However, that southern edge is starting to take that classic hook. You can see it right there. We're going to keep an eye on that as it continues to move towards northeast. The environment tonight, first part of your Thursday morning, will be capable of producing tornadoes. I want to stress that right now. Have that weather radio ready to go. Have your phones on. Make sure your phones are charging. I've got mine charging over here just to be on the safe side. I'm not trying to panic anybody right now. We want you guys to be safe. If you know anybody that needs coverage, by the way, send them our way. We're gonna be up here during the overnight hours. We're gonna be here. We don't care about time or specific areas. We care about the state. So we're gonna be here 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning if needed, until everybody is safe from this threat. But up here in North Arkansas, you're going to have to watch the situation closely. So this is going to move out of Searcy County. It's going to move into Stone, Southern Baxter, and it's going to move it towards Izard County. Izard County, you've got time right now. You've got time. Time is on your side. You've got Melbourne, the Oxford area. You're sitting high and pretty right now because there's no warnings. There's nothing going on. Use that time right now. Use that extra 20, 30-minute leeway time to get into shelter. That way, when this thing starts hauling towards that area, and it's moving northeast about 50 miles per hour, that's almost a mile a minute. That's about 10 miles short of a mile a minute. So if you know anybody in this area, take those tornado precautions. Get in the shelter. Get them up. It's going to be 3 o'clock in the morning. They're going to be fussing at you, but at least they'll be safe. So get them in the shelter immediately at this current time here. So I'm double checking everything right now. Definitely the one south of Mount Home is exhibiting that area of rotation at this current time here. I'm double checking our Discord as well and making sure I'm not seeing any sort of public reports coming through our side at this current time here. So I'm getting a lot of hail reports right now. Just seeing everything across the board. At this point, luckily, no confirmed tornadoes, which is awesome. But the biggest thing I want to stress is take those tornado precautions immediately. So Little Rock has canceled the tornado warning for Baxter and Marion counties. That's good, but we're going to continue to monitor the situation closely. That's going to go towards Fulton and also Izard, Stone, and also Searcy counties. You need to take your tornado precautions immediately. So we're down to 2 tornado warnings on the board and 1 severe thunderstorm warning that's going to go for this area. We're going to zoom in to the one up here. That's going to go into southern Mount Home at this point. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a track on this. As a matter of fact, let's go back over to our area of rotation here. And boy, look at there. When you start seeing those whites really start to come out. Matter of fact, give me 1 second. I'm going to take away the rows for just a little bit. Give me 1 second. But you can see where you see those light red and that white and that very, very light green to white. That's indicative of very, very strong winds going towards the radar and then going away from the radar. So that's where you have that area of rotation right there. That's going to be right there in just northwest Norfolk, going right through Ellis. Ellis, you need to be in shelter now. This is going to go right over downtown Ellis. This is going to go to the north and west of Norfolk. This is going to stay south and east of Mount Home. Mount Home, sirens are going off. If you want to take shelter, do it. I'm pretty confident that this is going to go south of Mount Home, so I'm not really concerned about a direct impact to that area. But if you know anyone that's trying to attempt to go south, I would halt them. I kind of hold them back for a little bit until this storm passes away. But this is I would say a tornado. Radar indicated, doesn't mean squad. It can still produce a tornado at any given moment. That's going to go right through Ellis. That's going to go right over Highway 5. And it's going to continue to move on towards northeast here. It's going to make a ray for Highway 223 and also Salem over there. And I've been stressing about the Fulton County area. And there it is. There is a new tornado warning that just got issued for the Fulton County area. So Fulton County, Now you need to be taking a little bit of a pep step in terms of getting ready to take your tornado precautions here. You've had time, you've had 20, probably 25 minutes to get in the shelter. I've been telling you guys over the last couple of minutes that you need to get there, but now is the time to react. You need to get it done now. So if you know anyone in Salem, 412 or 223, you need to be taking the tornado precautions immediately. This is going to be southwestern Fulton County and northwestern Izard County at this current time. But we have a new tornado warning that is on the board at this current point. And as I said before, we're going to watch the situation very, very closely where this is going to go for Izard County and Fulton County up here in northern Arkansas. It's going to go right over 412 at this time. We also have another tornado warning that's going to go for Stone, Izard, and southern Baxter County at this current time here. And also we've got this one over here, severe thunderstorm warning. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning. This one's mainly going to be 60-mile-per-hour winds, 1-inch hail. But right now the concern is going to be through these areas here from Baxter County to Cherokee County over here. And I would dare say the big flat storm, the one that went over Marshall, there could be an extension of that tornado warning as it continues to move out towards northeast. So Callao Rock, Melbourne, take that time right now. You've been sitting pretty. You've been sitting high. You haven't had any warnings. Tonight, probably not even raining at your location. Take that tornado precaution just to be on the safe side. That's the biggest thing I want to stress. You're probably going to see an extension of that tornado warning. It's going to go into Stone and then eventually into Izard County at this current time here. Also, as I said before, we're watching this storm up here near Fulton County at this current time. Something that we're going to monitor very, very closely. That's going to continue to move towards the Salem area. So if you know the one in Salem, they need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows. Put as many walls to unity outside as possible. And get to the lowest area of your home immediately here. So give me 1 second. Let me get a drink of this real fast. Okay. All right, I'm good. I apologize for that, guys. I said before, it's about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. So I wanted to make sure my throat was clear. So that's going to go towards Baxter and also towards southern Izard County, northern Izard County, and also Fulton County up here at this current time here. So this tornado warning over here, there it is. Tornado warning is going to go until 3:15 this morning, moving northeast at about 40 miles per hour. And then we got this one up here, Izard, Fulton, and also Baxter County. It's going to go until 3:30 this morning here. So if you're just now tuning in, I'm Assistant Chief Forecaster Cameron. Up 3 o'clock in the morning, keeping you guys aware. If you know anyone in this area, they need to be taking their tornado. Haven't heard any sort of reports, which is awesome. Haven't heard any reports of this thing being on the ground or anything like that here. But right now, I would still go ahead and take your tornado precautions immediately. That's the biggest thing I want to stress right now. Get to shelter right now at this point, especially up here in Baxter, Fulton, and northern Izard counties, and then also Cherokee and Stone counties here. So this tornado warning here, this one's going to go until 3:15. Be very interested to see what ends up happening with that. I think it's still exhibiting a good amount of rotation right there just east of 341. It's going to go right towards Highway 5, and then also it's going to make a run for Highway 9 over here in northern and northern Stone, and also towards Izard County. So Callao Rock and also the Melbourne area. Take those tornado precautions. Just say, hey, I know there's something going on, but I'm taking that leeway time. That 15, 20 minutes will always save you, especially 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, because that gives you time to wake your folks up, get them ready to go, and then take those tornado precautions here at this current time here. So this is what we got at this point. We have another, like I said before, this tornado warning up here. Also, one more thing I want to stress as well, if you're new here, you don't know what we're doing, the alert bar at the bottom will be your best friend. I want to test that. I want to tell you that right now. That's going to be your best friend. You're going to have your watches, your warnings, your advisories, anything new is going to be down there. Like I said before, our developer, Richard, he did an amazing job with the alert bar here, especially with situations like this. So right over 341, just is coming right into Ellis now. Ellis, you need to have been in shelter 15 minutes ago. This is going right over Ellis. Now it's making its run towards Salem. Salem, 3 o'clock in the morning, blow their phones up to King Kong. That's the biggest thing I'm telling you guys right now. Get them on the phone, do whatever you got to do. But this is moving northeast towards the Salem area here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a track on this storm and show you guys exactly on where it's going to go. So right through here, give me 1 second. The area of rotation is going to be right over Ellis. I mean, it's right at Ellis right now. And it's going to continue to move out towards northeast. I'm going to clock it about 40. Ellis and then Salem. Salem 336. Use that time now. You're not in a tornado warning just yet if you're in Salem. but use that time now. And then the Valonia area up there, that is on 412. That's just to the west of Salem. Take your tornado precautions as well. Oxford, this should stay just to your north, but just to be on the safe side, go ahead and do it as well. Never hurts to take your tornado precautions, especially in situations like this, because you know your tornado track is going to deviate from north, south, east, west. So keep that in mind. That's north, south, east, not west. But it's going to deviate. So if this goes to the south and east, it's going to go towards Oxford. If it goes to the north and east, it's going to go towards 412 in the Valonia area up here in Fulton County. If it continues on its current trajectory, it's going to go right through Salem. So Salem, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. In this area, if you know anyone in northern Arkansas, is classic for seeing these tornado supercells go through those areas here, especially on 412, near the Salem area, the Cherokee Village, the Horseshoe Bend. That area is classic for seeing tornado reports and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. Also, as I mentioned before, we're going to keep an eye on this storm down here. Now, this one down here, and you're going to see this a lot, especially during our coverage tonight. You see the difference between the two. There's tornado possible for the Marshall storm, and there's also a tag called considerable damage. What does considerable damage mean? That means it's producing almost 3-inch hail. That is incredible hail. That is almost, I believe, give me 1 second, tennis ball size hail. So it's producing tennis ball size hail, 70 mile per hour winds, and I do believe, okay, it's not torpause, but it is exhibiting some mid-level rotation. So just keep that in mind at this point. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a track on this one as well. So there's a tornado warning up there. Look at that rotation. That is just north of Norfolk. That is crazy. That is some strong rotation up there. Would not be shocked if that thing was on the ground. But the one near Leslie and also near 56, you need to watch that. And boom, you have a new tornado warning that's just got issued for Stone County and also Izard County at this current time here. As I mentioned before, we're going to continue to monitor the situation very, very, very closely here. I do not realize my camera went off. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get that going at this point. So give me 1 second, guys. I'm not sure what happened there. My camera apparently disappeared on me. Okay. All right. I'm back. I apologize for that. I'm not sure what happened there. It may have gotten disconnected, but there's my camera back at this point. But this is right here. The Big Flat area and also Cattle Rock. This is going to go right over Izard County. All right, so for Cattle Rock and also Melbourne. Melbourne, you've been talked about for the last 20, 30 minutes now. You've been sitting pretty for the last 30 minutes. Now you're in a tornado warning. Now, like I said before, start time to put a little bit of pep into that step in terms of this area here in Izard County. So take your tornado precautions immediately at this point. We've got multiple warnings coming out now here. Look at Stone County all of a sudden. You've got considerable damage. This one here, tornado possible now with this storm moving to the northeast at 40 miles per hour. So I would call this a severe weather outbreak up here in northern Arkansas. This is, like I said before, a slight risk. This is not even in the enhanced risk area. The enhanced risk goes from Jonesboro to the metro, which is in Little Rock, all the way down to southeastern Arkansas and eastern Arkansas. This area was the low risk. This is why we tell you guys all the time, don't pay attention to those headers. Don't pay attention to the low and the very low and low. You can get stuff like this to happen in low risk areas. This is why we stress it so much. So tornado possible, TAS, severe thunderstorm warnings. Those areas, if you see a tornado possible, severe thunderstorm warning, you need to be taking your tornado precautions. Treat it as if it's on the ground. Treat it as if it's a tornado warning. Because we've seen situations before, and I can't tell you how many stories I've heard from southeastern Arkansas where you've had severe thunderstorm warnings and end up producing a tornado. The Montrose tornado EF2 was a severe thunderstorm warning. So keep that in mind here. If it goes tornado possible, they don't have enough confidence to go tornado warning, but it can still produce a tornado. So keep that in mind across the board. But this one right in here near Cattle Rock and the Melbourne area is really starting to exhibit a good amount of rotation. That's just north and east of Highway 14, west of Highway 5. It's going to go right over Highway 5, and it's going to go just south of Cattle Rock, or just to the north and west of Melbourne. Melbourne, those two areas, you need to be in shelter right now. Oxford, you're between two warnings right now. Oxford, I just go ahead and seek shelter, just to be on the safe side. If you know anyone on Highway 9 between Oxford and Melbourne, they need to be seeking shelter immediately. This is up here in Izard County right now. You need to be taking your tornado precautions now. I cannot stress that enough. But this is going to go into Fulton County, and this is going to make its way towards the Cherokee Village here. Cherokee Village, I've been telling you guys, trying to give you guys some downstream cities of these tornado warnings. So Horseshoe Bend, Cherokee Village, I'd go ahead and seek your tornado precautions too. I'd go ahead and do it just to be on the safe side. If you don't want in Melbourne, take your tornado precautions immediately. If you don't want in Mountain View, I'd go ahead and do it as well, because this tornado possible storm is going to go right through central Stone County. So if you know anyone in those areas, they need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately. And this is all going to continue to move to the north and east here. So this is going to eventually impact, give me 1 second to see if I can zoom this out. This is eventually going to impact these areas up here in northeastern Arkansas. So that's Stone, Izard, Fulton, Sharp, Independence, Lawrence, Randolph, Clay, Greene, Craighead, Poinsettia, and Mississippi counties. This is going to move towards those areas. So you need to be taking your tornado precautions if you get under a tornado warning, even if it's 4 o'clock in the morning, even if it's 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. Just keep that in mind. I'm really worried that we may have some tornado warnings up here in northeastern Arkansas right around when the kiddos get ready to go to school, about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. So we're going to watch this area very, very closely during the late overnight hours and the first part of your Thursday morning here. But this is what we've got at this time. Said before, this is going to go right over Salem at this time here. Excuse me. It's going to go right over Salem at this point. I would say Salem, Cherokee Village. Cherokee Village, I'd just go ahead and just take your tornado precautions just to be on the safe side. I'd go ahead and get in that safe place right now if you're in Cherokee Village. Ash Flat, this should stay to your north and west, but still go ahead and stick your safe spots immediately if you're in Ash Flat or in Horseshoe Bend, Franklin, Altsford, and Salem up here in Fulton County and Izard County. Go ahead and take your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows. Put as many walls to unit outside as possible. Get to the lowest area of your home immediately at this current time here. So let me see here. Going over everything right now. Let me see. We'll go take a look at this real quickly here. There's a tornado warning at this point. Considerable damage tag over here in Stone County. This one's producing 2-inch in diameter. Here, let's take a look at your current radar at this point. There's your considerable tag at this time. This one right here, now we have a new tornado warning that's in effect. That's going to go from right there on 65. So, boy, this is starting to become one of those situations where we start getting tornado warnings left and right up here in northern Arkansas here. So let's talk about this one. Tornado warning up here till 3:30. This is going to go for the following areas: southeastern Searcy and northwestern Van Buren counties up here in northern Arkansas. Take those tornado precautions immediately. We've been stressing that over the last couple of hours. Don't matter if you're in a marginal, slight, hands, moderate, high risk, whatever. If you have a severe threat, you need to take it seriously. This is why we stress so much about these slight risk areas. We're seeing a full-blown tornado event in a slight risk area. So going forward, we have these slight risks come up in the spring. Take it seriously. This is why we tell you guys all the time to take them seriously. But back to what we've got. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is located over Woolham, over 14 miles south of Marshall. Marshall, once again, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. $half sized hail and the potential of a tornado at this point. So that's going to go over Rocky Hill, also towards Denard, Chimes, and also towards the Elba area up here in northern Arkansas. So take your tornado precautions immediately. The biggest thing I want to stress to you guys right now is 3 o'clock in the morning. I know everybody, when they hear that tornado warning or hear a tornado siren go off, the first instinct is to go outside and see what's going on. Don't do it. 3 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to see the tornado until it's on top of you, and by that point, you're putting your life at risk. If these things produce a tornado, you need to be in shelter. Don't go outside. This is not 2 o'clock in the afternoon where you see a tornado coming 6 miles away. This is 3 o'clock in the morning where you see a tornado coming at you and it's right in your face. And that's the worst place to be. So if a tornado warning is issued for your area, get to shelter. Blow whoever's phone you got to at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd rather for them to be safe than sorry. But we've got a new tornado warning that's going to go once again over Highway 65. Highway 65 has been a hot spot this evening in the overnight hours. Luckily, staying south of Marshall and staying south of Leslie. This is going to track between Leslie and the Clinton area. But if you know anyone on 65 right now that's either traveling or live along and near, 65, they need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately at this point. So we're going to go back over to our rotation indicator. It's just to the southwest of Leslie, moving northeast at this point at about 40 miles per hour. We're going to put a track on this. Mountain View. My call to action to Mountain View at this point, I'm going to tell you that right now without having to put the track on it, it's going to go right towards Mountain View. So Mountain View, you need to be taking your tornado precautions at this point. It's going to go right at about 354 but account for that 10 to 15 minute lag time between actual real time and radar. So take those tornado precautions, immediately get away from windows, put as many walls to unity outside as possible, and get to the lowest area of your home immediately at this point. Also, like I said before, not taking anything away from northern Arkansas. This is where that alert bar is going to come in a good effect, because it's going to keep you updated on the watches, the warnings across the area at this time here. But we've got multiple warnings up here for Fulton and Izard counties, in Stone County, and also Baxter County. So take your tornado precautions immediately, get away from windows, put as many walls to unity outside as possible, get to the lowest area of your home immediately. The Calico Rock area, and also the Melbourne area, also Oxford and Horseshoe Bend, you need to be taking your tornado precautions. Now, a lot of people are concerned about the Mount Home area. I'm going to give Mount Home an all clear. You're good. If you're in Mount Home, you're perfectly fine. But if you're in Salem, Horseshoe Bend, Franklin, Melbourne, anywhere in North and Central Izard County, or in Stone County, or in southern Baxter County. Also, if you're in Van Buren County as well, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately at this point. So, 74307 this morning. Good morning, Arkansas. This is Assistant Chief Forecaster Cameron. This is what we're doing. This is why we're here. If you've never heard us before, follow us on the page. We don't care about specific areas or anything like that. If it's 3 o'clock in the morning, it's affecting North Arkansas, you can bet your behind we're going to be up here covering. So this is what we've got, multiple areas of rotation at this point. What I'm going to do, and I do this all the time when we have these tornado warnings like this, I'm going to start North Arkansas, and I'm going to make my way down south into North Central Arkansas. So bear with me for just a little bit, and we're going to go over each and every single one of these warnings. Let's start with the one up here in eastern Baxter County, southwestern Fulton County. Let's put a track on this one. As clear as day, you can see the area of rotation that is just south of 62. Okay, so we're going to put a track on this. Give me 1 second, get all this stuff off. We're going to put a track on this. So this is I'm going to calculate this about 40 miles per hour. So this is going to be right through here. Okay, and it's going to go right for Salem. It's going to go for Salem, Mammoth Springs, and also Thayer up here in Fulton County. Take your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows. Put as many walls to unity outside as possible. Get to the lowest area of your home immediately. Salem, it's gonna be on top of you for 337. I can guarantee you it's gonna be there, and I'll be very interested to see. You can see to the south, there's another storm that's gonna go just to your south, and I'll be very interested to see what happens with that. But I do believe the first storm is gonna be the one to impact you. So if you know anyone in Salem or 412, they need to be taking their tornado precautions. Mount Home, you're in the clear. You're good. Don't worry about it. But if you're in Fulton County, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. That's the first tornado warning. This tornado warning in effect until 3:30 this morning. Let's drop to the south. Let's talk about Calico Rock, and also let's talk about the Melbourne area. This tornado warning in particular is going to go until 3:45 this morning here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a track on this storm. So it's going to be right through here. I'm going to calculate it at about 40 miles per hour like I'm doing with all these other storms. And this one's going to go for the following. Horseshoe Bend, which we've been talking about over and over and over again. Franklin, also Ash Flat, and Cherokee Village. These areas are classic for seeing tornado warnings in North Arkansas. It never fails up here in North Arkansas to see these constant tornado warnings. So Horseshoe Bend, Franklin, Ash Flat, Cherokee Village, take those tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows. Put as many walls to unity outside as possible. Get to the lowest area of your home immediately here. Also, getting new information from Storm Prediction. That's Storm Prediction Center's report. There's also a tornado watch, southern Arkansas, till 5 a.m. We'll get more into that information once we get past all of this mess at this point. Now, let's drop to the south. What I'm going to do here is, before I get to that tornado warning in northern Van Buren County, we're going to talk about this one. This is going to be for Stone County, and this one's going to move. I'm going to calculate it. I like the same, 40 miles per hour. 56, also towards Melbourne, Mount Pleasant, and then Sydney up here. That's going to continue to move towards north and east, about 40 miles per hour. This is not going to be producing a tornado, but this is going to be producing the potential of golf ball to tennis ball size hail, 70 mile per hour winds with these storms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back onto our radar and show you guys what we're talking about with this. Right there, just south of Bit Flat, west of Mountain View, southwest of 56. This is going to move to the northeast at 40 miles per hour. So it's going to go right over Stone County. So if you know anyone in Stone County, it's not a tornado warning. It's not a big red box flashing at you, but it is a severe thunderstorm capable of producing significant damage. So keep that in mind across the board up there in northern Izard County. Not Izard County, Stone County, excuse me. But down to the south from there, there's the tornado warning down here. That's going to go for northern Van Buren. That's going to go into Stone County as well. This one's going to go until 3:30 this morning. And we're going to put a track on this one, and we're going to calculate it just the same, about 40 miles per hour. So Mountain View now, not Mountain Home, but Mountain View, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. We're aiming right around 3:57 this morning. Like I said before, it's going to be a little bit of a lag time between real time and the radar. So account for that. Also account for the fact that somebody might actually be trying to wake up. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, a lot of people are up at this hour. The fact that I've got nearly 600 people on here at 3 o'clock in the morning is absolutely amazing, guys. I appreciate y'all for trusting me with information like this, with it being this crucial. But up here in North Arkansas, if you know anybody up here, they desperately need this information at this current time here. So elsewhere across the state, give somebody kind of, a perspective on what's going on across the state. Because you see all this tornado warning in North Arkansas, but you see no coverage across the rest of the state. This is what's going on across the area. We've got several, storms trying to bubble up. You hear it outside of our weather center. Nothing really getting going because there's still a capping inversion, a surface inversion in place. These storms are going to go up and start to develop as we get towards that 4, 5, 6, 7 o'clock time frame. And I'm really worried the slower this becomes, the longer we're going to deal with this. We get past 6 o'clock in the morning, you're going to start adding daytime heating into eastern Arkansas, and that's where you're really going to have that threat for severe weather to start to amplify. So we're going to watch that closely here. But up there in northern Arkansas, northeastern Arkansas, you've got several severe thunderstorm warnings and several tornado warnings in place at this current time here. So we're going to zoom back down, like I said before. That's right up here in Fulton County. I'm starting from north to south. No anyone over here in 412, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows. Put as many walls to uni outside as possible and get to the lowest area of your home immediately. I'm double checking our Discord as well just to make sure. But if you know anyone in the Melbourne area, excuse me, if you know anyone in the Melbourne area, I'd go ahead and seek your tornado precautions. As a matter of fact, I'm going to answer that question real quick. Someone was asking in Discord if you need to take shelter if you're in the Melbourne area, and I'm going to say yes to that one, because you do need to take shelter if you're in Melbourne at this current time. And regardless this thing pushes to the north or not, you need to be taking your tornado precautions. If you know anyone in Fulton County, they need to be taking their tornado precautions as well. This is going to go right over 412 at this point. Also, this is going to also go, we're going to have to watch this closely as well, the Leslie area. Leslie, you're getting probably a lot of heavy rainfall, hail, clouded ground, lightning at this point. That's going to continue to move to the east here. Marshall, you're in the clear now. You can officially, officially come out of your shelters if you're in the Marshall area. But if you're in Leslie or on Highway 65 right now, you need to continue to take those tornado precautions. That tornado warning down there is still going to continue until 3:30 this morning. Mountain View, not Mountain Home, but Mountain View. You need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows. Put as many walls to uni outside as possible. Get to the lowest area of your home immediately. But Marshall, you should be good to go here at this point. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on our surface instability. First and foremost, I'm going to tell you this right now. This is a scary sight to see at 3 o'clock in the morning. Look at all that severe thunderstorm fuel we have across central and southern and eastern Arkansas. We have a lot of fuel across this area here at 3 o'clock in the morning. The longer we drag this out, the worse it's going to get. I will assure you that right now. So keep that in mind. We're going to watch it closely. We're not expecting a massive outbreak or high-end tornadoes or anything like that. But the fact that we still have all this fuel at 3 o'clock in the morning and your frontal boundary is just slowly making its way through Arkansas means that this is going to drag out until probably 8, 9, 10, 11, probably as late as noon before we continue to put an end to this threat here. Now we have new storms starting to fire down there in northeast Texas. You see that severe thunderstorm warning that's just to the west and southwest of Texarkana. Those storms are going to have to be watched as they continue to move out towards the east here. So we're going to watch the situation closely. We've got multiple tornado warnings in place across northern Arkansas here. I kind of wanted to show you guys that to kind of give you a visual on what's going on here. But multiple tornado warnings in place right now. I'm going to go step by step. So tornado warning in, let's see here, that's going to be from northwestern Izard, western Fulton, eastern and Baxter County. That's going to go until 3:30 this morning. Take your tornado precautions immediately. Blow their phones up. do whatever you got to do. But take those tornado precautions immediately at this current time. And that's going to go for Oxford, the Norfolk area, Salesville, also Briar Cliff, Rodney, Diamond Bay, also Clinton Springs, Union, Wild Cherry, Willing, and also Elizabeth and Jordan over here. So take your tornado precautions immediately. These are also producing 2-inch diameter hail, which will do damage. I promise you. I've been out there. I've been hit by one. It will do damage. So keep that in mind. If your shelter's outdoors, get you a helmet or something to protect your head from the potential of those hailstones hitting you, because 2-inch hail will leave a mark. I promise you it will. We also got this tornado warning down here as well. Give me 1 second. That's going to go for southeastern Searcy, north central Van Buren counties. That's going to go until 3:30. That's registered Kipper producing a tornado was located over Rocky Hill or 12 miles southeast of Marshall, moving east at 35 miles per hour. This is going to impact the following areas: Rocky Hill and also the Denard area. Take your tornado precautions immediately. I cannot stress that enough. Horseshoe Bend, not Blend, Bend. You need to go ahead and take your tornado precautions right now. Cherokee Village, same thing for you. Go ahead and just take your tornado precautions immediately at this point. Let me see here. We have a tornado warning that includes the Denard, Arkansas area. Its radar indicator is going to go until 3:30 this morning. So it's a very short range tornado warning here. Let me see here. We also had another tornado warning down here, and we also have other severe thunderstorm warnings across the area at this current time here. So tornado possible there, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. We're going to put a track on this entire area. That includes the tornado warnings as well. I'm going to put a track on this entire area, and we're going to move this at about 40 miles per hour. So this is going to go for the following areas. I'm going to put this right up here so you guys can see it. That's going to be Oxford, Melbourne, Horseshoe Bend, also Mountain View, Ash Flat, Mount Pleasant, Cherokee Village, Hardy, Evening Shade, and Crushman. This is going to go for the following: the potential of 70 mile per hour winds, the potential of 2-inch in diameter or greater hail, and the potential of a tornado or two within this entire line of storms. I've marked the entire line here. I kind of give you guys a perspective on where these individual storms are going. But the following hazards is going to go for the entire area. So if you're on this list, seek your tornado precautions. Just go ahead and get in the shelter just to be on the safe side. But that's going to go for Oxford, Melbourne, Horseshoe Bend, Mountain View, Ash Flat, Mount Pleasant, Cherokee Village, Hardy, Evening Shade, and Crushman. Take your tornado precautions immediately. I cannot stress that enough. At this current time here, okay? Also, as I said before, not saying any North Arkansas bias or anything like that. We cover the entire state of Arkansas. I want to kind of draw your attention just down here for just a little bit. This is outside of our coverage area, obviously, but we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that's going to go for the New Boston area. 60 mile per hour winds, 1-inch hail with this storm. But I will say this is moving into an environment capable of producing severe weather, which does include the potential of tornadoes here. So this will be something that we're going to have to watch down here in southwestern Arkansas. Southwestern Arkansas, you're not even in the watch, surprisingly. Unless that changed. Let me double check. No, you guys are not even in a watch. So we'll see what ends up happening. I think you'll have some sort of severe threat down here in southwestern Arkansas as well. But I think your tornado threat will be greater in your tornado watching. Now, I do believe the tornado watch is till 5 o'clock. But it's going to get extended. I promise you. It's going to get extended to probably about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, just because of the fact that we're going to have to watch this situation very, very, very closely here at this current time here. So what we're doing, just kind of going step by step. We've got this tornado warning in place at this current time. Just double checking everything, making sure. Richard, thank you so much in the Discord for making sure everybody's staying tuned in terms of this live stream. This is very important information. Do me a solid favor, and if you can share this live stream. I realize it's 3 o'clock in the morning. A lot of people are not going to see it. That's fine. That's dandy. I promise you it's okay. But if I can get one person to listen, that's perfect. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. They need to be taking this seriously. Don't wait for the tornado to come to you. You guys know this full well. I know it's Arkansas, and everyone wants to go out and try to see the tornado, but you're not going to get it at 3 o'clock in the morning. Even if you're a storm chaser, you're not going to get it at 3 o'clock in the morning unless it's doing significant damage. So don't try to go out and see it. Don't go to try and get footage or anything. take those tornado precautions immediately. I promise you. I'd rather for you guys to be safe than sorry at this point. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this track up because this track gives you an overall view of the multiple warnings. This includes all the tornado warnings and all the severe thunderstorm warnings. So I'm going to leave this up at this current time, and I'm going to double check and make sure that we don't have anything else going on at this current time here. So right now, I'm not seeing any reports of excuse me. We don't have any reports of a wall cloud or anything like that, which is awesome news at this point. But I'm gonna double check everything right now. Let me see here. Let me see. I'm gonna double check that real quick. Somebody said that the sirens are going off. Sirens are going off in I think Melbourne or something like that. Let me double check that real fast here. I can't see that comment to save my life. Let me see here. Hi from Melbourne. Tornado sirens just went off. And a message on my phone. Do I need to seek shelter? If you're in the Melbourne area, that's going to be a yes. Just making it super short, sweet, straight to the point. If you're in the Melbourne area, if you know anyone in Melbourne, they need to be seeking your tornado precautions immediately at this current time here. Okay, so this is what we've got. So for this, the following areas. There's your list of cities right there. Oxford. It should be right on top of you. So I'm gonna refresh this track. And we're going to kind of break this down. So you've got 3 ongoing tornado warnings. You've got 2 severe thunderstorm, actually 3 severe thunderstorm warnings. 2 of them are producing considerable damage or capable of producing a tornado. This one's a regular severe thunderstorm warning here. And I'm going to put a track for this entire thing to kind of make this short, sweet, straight to the point. I'm going to clock it about 50 miles per hour to give you that extra 5-minute heads up. Following areas, Oxford, it's on top of you right now. It's going to be on top of you right now if you're in the Oxford area. If you're in Salem, you need to be taking your tornado precautions. If you're in Melbourne, you've got about 5 minutes, but you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Also, Horseshoe Bend, take your tornado precautions. Ash Flat, same thing. Cherokee Village, same thing. Cave City, same thing. Batesville, same thing. And also Obedient up here in north central Arkansas. And notice where this is going, by the way. Look at the areas. Pocahontas, Walnut Ridge, Paragould, Jonesboro. This is moving east-northeast. Watch this closely up here in northeastern Arkansas. We told you guys, just because you're in a slight risk area doesn't mean squat. Those are confidence maps. Those are not a enhanced risk or nothing severe threat. Just because you're in a slight risk doesn't mean anything. This is what we've got, and this is what we worry so much about during slight risk events. So keep this in mind. But Van Buren, Northern Cleburne County, Independence County, Israel County, Sharp County now, also Randolph County, Fulton County, and Lawrence County, you need to be getting ready to take your tornado precautions. If you're in Sharp, Lawrence, Independence, or Randolph County, you're sitting high and pretty like, Stone County and Israel County was earlier on. You're sitting high and pretty, you're thinking, okay, there's nothing going on, it's not even raining, it's been hit and miss, what's going on? And then a tornado warning gets issued, and you're rushing. Take that time. Take that 15 to 20 minute heads up notice. Take what we're saying. Go run with it. Get in the shelters. That way you're already set. That way when the tornado warning gets issued and it goes off on your phone, you're already there. You're already being proactive. You're already in that game plan, and you're already good to go. Just in case, if it touches down or even if it doesn't touch down, you have that game plan and set in motion at this point. So just kind of breaking down everything. Tornado warning is going to go until 3:30. Actually, that Israel County tornado warning is going to go until 3:45, but this one's for Van Buren. This one's going to go until 3:30. Right up here in Israel County, that's going to go until 3:45. And then, excuse me, the one up here in Fulton County, that's going to go until 3:30 this morning as well. So we're going to keep an eye on these storms at this point. Also, we got several severe thunderstorm warnings as well. This one's going to go until 3:30. Look at the motion of this, by the way. Almost 3-inch in diameter. Hell, I promise you get hit by that, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel every inch of that hell if you get hit by that. That is almost life-threatening hell at this point. Getting up to 3-4 inch hail, that can do some serious damage to your car, and also if you get hit by it, that can actually do some serious injury. So keep that in mind. And also 70-mile-per-hour wind, so you're probably going to have power outage issues. As a matter of fact, we can check into that real quickly here. And right now, we've got about almost 2,000 people without power, majority coming out of Cherokee County. which is not surprising because you guys just got to dealing with those tornado warnings, now those thunderstorm warnings that just moved through your area. So we've got 2,000 people without power. We got a few down here in southeastern Arkansas, but I do believe that's non-weather related down here. All these up here are weather related. But just keep that in mind. Make sure your phones are charged over here. And just make sure you stay aware of the situation here. But the Izard County storm is going to go until 3:45 this morning. Also, we have a regular severe thunderstorm warning. It's going to go for a little over an inch of hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. It's going to go until about 4 o'clock in the morning here. So we're drawing this out longer and longer and longer and longer and longer across the area here. So they have canceled the severe thunderstorm watch in western Arkansas, west central Arkansas. So you're done over there. However, the tornado watch continues until 5 o'clock, and I'd be real curious to see what they end up doing with that tornado watch. Are they going to extend it? Are they going to let it go? Or what's going to be the question mark with that? I do believe they need to extend it to kind of give you guys a perspective here. So now we have a brand new tornado warning that's just been issued for Cherokee Village. Cherokee Village, I've been harping on you guys. It's going to go until 4:15 at this point here. And also you got an update with the tornado watch at this current time here. But new tornado warning has just been issued. It's going to go until 4:15. It's going to go for Horseshoe Bend, Franklin, Ash Flat, and Cherokee Village. Same thing we've been kind of talking about over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, that this is going to be the area of concern. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the rotation tracker on. It's right there on Highway 9. You can't mistake it any sort of way. It's right there on Highway 9, just south of Oxford, just to the north of Melbourne, and it's going to move east-northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So Horseshoe Bend, Franklin, Ash Flat, Cherokee Village, take your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows, put as many walls to unit outside as possible. Get to the lowest area of your home immediately at this point. But this is going to go until 4:15 this morning. We're going to go ahead and kind of take a track on this real fast here. There it is right there. They're going to put it about 40 miles per hour. So it's going to go for Franklin, Horseshoe Bend, also Ash Flat, Cherokee Village, Harding, and then the Wilford area. Take your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows. Put as many walls to unit outside as possible. Get to the lowest area of your home immediately at this time here. I cannot stress that in the slightest, okay? Also, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning up here. It's going to go for a tornado possible. Little over 1 inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds up here. It's going to go until 4:15 this morning. That's going to go from northern Arkansas. Just something that we're going to watch very, very closely here. I cannot stress that enough. Take these severe thunderstorm warnings and these tornado warnings seriously. Don't wait till it's on top of you. Take that time now to seek your tornado precautions. I cannot stress that enough at this point. So what I'm going to do, once again, we're going to go from south, okay, let's switch this around. We're going to go from south to north. At this point, we went from north to south last time. We're going to go from south to north. So what we're going to do here, give me 1 second. Let's zoom down here. So this tornado warning here, I do believe they're going to drop this one because the area of rotation does not look as impressive as it did before. So this one's going to go. Next minute, that's going to be gone. But you still have that severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible, a 1 inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. That's going to go for Highway 65 over here and then Highway 263 over here as well. So that's the area of concern. I will say this one up here, considerable damage, severe thunderstorm warning. The 3-inch hail, almost 3-inch hail diameter storm, that's going to go right over Highway 66, Highway 263, and those areas here. So continue to monitor the storm closely. This is now a severe thunderstorm warning, capable of producing almost 1.2, a little over an inch of hail at 60-mile-per-hour winds across the area. And then you've got a severe thunderstorm warning up here that's going to produce over an inch of hail, and then also 60-mile-per-hour winds at this current time. And then also up here, that's going to include the 56th area, the Melbourne area, the Mount Pleasant area up here towards Izard County. And then you have a tornado warning up here for Horseshoe Bend, the Franklin area, Cherokee Village. This is going to go right over those areas. You need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. And then this one up here, like I said before, just because it's a severe thunderstorm warning doesn't mean anything. You need to take those tornado precautions immediately at this point. Cherokee Village, I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, there's not much going on. There's nothing going on. It's calm. There's nothing going on. Why am I under a tornado warning? You've got a storm coming at you from the southwest, moving northeast. If you know anybody on 62 or Highway 167 up here, they need to be taking their tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows, put as many walls to unit outside as possible, get to the lowest area of your home immediately. Give me 1 second. Excuse me. So let me see here. I'm checking Twitter right now. I'm not seeing any reports, which is awesome. Which here's here's the problem with that. It's about to be 4 o'clock in the morning, right? You don't have a single chaser out here. You don't. We have one kind of nearby. He's gonna get reports here, but the problem is you don't have a lot of chasers up here. So no one's really giving the reports up here in northern Arkansas. So you're not gonna hear anything until later today or on Friday or something like that. So don't try to go out and get the tornado. Don't try to go out and get the reports and stuff like that. And if you can get damage safely away from the storm, feel free to send it in. But if you can't and you're in the line of fire, don't do it. Okay. But if you're in Horseshoe Bend, Franklin, Cherokee Village, or even in the Wilford area or the Walden Springs area up there, that is going to be in Randolph County. You need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Don't wait for it to come to you. Take your tornado precautions. Salem, you should have already been in place. We told you guys that about 25, 30 minutes ago. If you're in Salem, you should have already been in place by now. Also, going further to the south, these tornado warnings have been dropped. These are mainly severe thunderstorm warnings now, but I want you guys to do me a big favor. If it's a severe thunderstorm warning, treat it like it's a tornado warning, because these storms are an environment, they can do it. They can easily go tornado warned at this point up here in northern Arkansas here. So 56, Mountain View, these areas, you're going to have to watch it closely. Severe thunderstorm warning, 60-mile-per-hour winds, 1-inch hail, with this storm up here in northern Arkansas. But this is the ongoing tornado warning at this point. Excuse me 1 second. Let me double check and make sure, because this one's going to be expired pretty soon. This is 3:45. This one's going to be gone because it's going to move out of the tornado warned area. And then you're going to have this brand new tornado warning that's going to go until 4:15. That's going to go for Horseshoe Bend and the Cherokee Village area. So this is going to continue to move out towards the east-northeast. That's going to go towards Sharp and then northwestern Lawrence and then Randolph County. Randolph County, it's calm as it all can be over there in Randolph County right now. But the biggest thing is you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. So now we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that's going to go for Cleburne, Faulkner, and White counties until 4:15. Let me take this out, take a look at this. And now here's your concern. Look what's going on all of a sudden. Your storms are now starting to get going in this area as well. And you're going to have to watch this closely. Let me double check this storm here. This one here is severe thunderstorm warning, 60-mile-per-hour winds, 1-inch hail with this one. We're going to double check and make sure there's no areas of rotation with this one, because this one's in a very, very crucial area up here in Faulkner County. This is near Conway, the Valonia area, Mayflower, Rosebud, Mount Vernon area. We're going to watch this closely. This is moving to the northeast once again. But right now, it's still severe thunderstorm warning, 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Tornado warnings are up here in northern Arkansas. These are going to take priority for now, but we are going to watch central Arkansas closely. This is starting to translate, and this is what I was worried about. It's now starting to translate into central Arkansas now, so something that we're going to watch closely. But Horseshoe Bend, also towards Franklin and Ash Flat, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Get to the lowest area of your home immediately. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this back on, kind of show you guys what's going on across the state right now here. So this is what we've got. You're probably hearing a lot of, by the way, you're probably hearing a lot of rain in the background outside of the weather center. This is just shower activity. You're not hearing really any thunder because of the fact there's still some low-level inversion in place that's getting itself worked out. That's what's going on. And then these storms are really starting to get going further to the north and east here. So we're going to watch northeastern Arkansas very closely. Eastern, southern, and southeastern Arkansas, we're still going to monitor you guys very closely. I'm going to check model data here in just a little bit once that tornado warning is off the board. But just kind of give you guys like a statewide view of what's going on. Showers, thunderstorms across the area. We're going to watch northern Arkansas very closely here for the potential of seeing tornadoes throughout the overnight hours here. But keep an eye on this. That's the biggest thing I want to stress right now. We're going to have to watch the situation closely. But what we're going to do here is we're going to go back over to our debris indicator. Right now, no indication that this thing is on the ground or anything like that, which is awesome news. We always want to hear that whenever we're dealing with tornado warnings here. But the area of flotation is as clear as day. Right there near Franklin and Horseshoe Bend. You need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows. Put as many walls to the outside as possible. Get to the lowest area of your home immediately at this point here. So give me 1 second. Let me double check something real fast here. I'm also kind of monitoring Discord and everything like that, making sure we're good. Let's see here. So, there's that. Let me double check everything real quickly here. So, Yes, there was a tornado threat in the Melbourne area. Melbourne, I know it's just a thunderstorm when you guys were under that tornado warning, but just stay in shelter. Like I said before, don't wait till it comes to you. Don't try to go out and get it. Folks, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You're not going to see it. It's not going to happen. Unless you got some sort of night vision or whatever, you're not going to see it at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's not going to happen. You can forget about it at this point. If there's a tornado warning, don't wait till it's on the ground doing damage. Go ahead and seek the shelter and be proactive, because, like I said before, if you go outside and try to see it at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're going to draw more people out because they're going to be like, oh, what's going on? Let's see what's going on. And that's how you're going to get the issues. Take priority. Take that proactive motion and get to shelter as quickly as you can if you're in these tornado warnings. I would much rather for nothing to happen and you're in the shelter than for you to be outside and this thing starts dropping tornadoes and you're in a line of fire at that point. Take your tornado precautions immediately. Tornado warning gets issued, do it. If we call your name downstream, take those tornado precautions. Every single city I've called downstream has ended up in a tornado warning. Take the tornado precautions, guys. I'm stressing you guys right now. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. You're not going to see it coming. I promise you, you're not going to see it coming. So if you're in Cherokee Village and you're in the Wilford area, the Raven Den Springs area, which is over there in Randolph County, also we're going to watch Pocahontas. Pocahontas, you're kind of, like I said, it's just like everybody else. You're sitting pretty right now. You're sitting high. You're not much going on. It's calm and everything like that. You've got active warnings to your west. Remember what I said. Be proactive. Have that game plan ready to go. If you're over there in the Pocahontas area or in the Raven Springs area, at this point you're over there in Randolph County. So tornado warnings in place till 4:15 this morning. It's about 3:38 right now. There's severe thunderstorm warnings before for Fulton, Cherokee, and Claiborne counties. 60 mile per hour winds, 1 inch hail. With those storms, you still have one down here. I would be shocked. Boy, I would not be shocked if you had a tornado warning down here. That's going to go for the Cab, New Boston. That may try to make its way into Little River County. We're going to watch that closely down here. That is in southwestern Arkansas. That's your southern mode starting to get going down here in southern and southwestern Arkansas. However, up here, this is where you're going to have to watch very closely up here in northern Arkansas. So Franklin, Horseshoe Bend, and also the Cherokee Village area, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Also, the Mountain View area, the 56 area, you do have an area of rotation that may try to get going here as a severe thunderstorm warning, but you still need to take your tornado precautions immediately at this period of time. So I'm going to double check something real quick. Let me get a swing of this real fast. Okay. All right, I'm here. So just double checking everything right now in terms of reports. I'm not really seeing anything right now in terms of like if it's on the ground or anything like that, which is awesome news. Like I said before, whenever you're dealing with one of these situations, you never want to hear those catastrophic stories about, tornadoes on the ground, stuff like that. You always want to hear that, it's radar indicated, there's nothing going on, but still, you still have to take those tornado precautions just to be on the safe side at this point here. So right now, I'm not seeing anything on our Discord in terms of reports or anything like that, which is awesome news. I will say this, it is getting close to about 4 o'clock in the morning, and a lot of people are going to start waking up and stuff like that, getting going. I want to kind of reintroduce myself. I'm Assistant Chief Forecaster Cam here at Arkansas Weather Watchers. This is what we do. We have these tornado warnings. We're live 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. We're going to keep you guys updated on the latest situations here. This one right here, the Mountain View 56 area, you need to go ahead and just take your tornado precautions. If you're in the Melbourne area, you need to go ahead and take your tornado precautions, because this one right here is going to go warned. There you have the area of rotation. That's that class assignment between green and red. That's going to go warned. That's going to go right for Melbourne. So Melbourne, go ahead and take your tornado precautions just to be on the safe side at this point. Horseshoe Bend, Franklin, Cherokee Village, you need to be taking your tornado precautions as well. And I will say this for our folks up here in northeastern Arkansas, it's going to be a rocky start to your morning across the area. A lot of people are going to be going to work. A lot of people are going to get ready to kiddos for school. Make sure they have that game plan ready to go. And I'm going to tell you this now. Your kids getting ready to go to school, you have a tornado warning, and they got a bus, they missed the bus, don't harp at them for missing the bus. I'd rather for you guys to be safe. School districts are going to be okay, I promise, but I'd rather for you guys to be safe. So if there's a tornado warning at 6:45 in the morning, and your kiddo's trying to get to school, bring him back inside or her back inside, and make sure that they are safe and they are taking those tornado precautions. I promise you the school building is still going to be there. But when you're dealing with tornado warnings, I'd rather for you guys to be safe. So that's an issue that I'm saying now with it being 3 o'clock in the morning. Because I know that's getting ready to happen. When you get towards that 6, 7 o'clock in the morning time frame, you get morning rush, schools in session, and all the other stuff. Just make sure your kiddos are staying safe, and make sure you're staying safe as well if a tornado warning does happen first thing in the morning here. So this is a tornado warning right now. That's going to go until, give me 1 second here. That's going to go until 4:15 across the area. This is going to go for Stone County. That's going to go until 4:15. This one here is a severe thunderstorm warning tornado possible. Moving northeast at 46 miles per hour. It's going to go until 3:45, which is going to be expiring next 4 to 5 minutes here. So we're going to put a track. I'm going to do what I did similar last time. I'm going to put a track for this entire line. This entire line will be capable of producing damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour, hail up to 2 inches in diameter, and also, especially on the northern end, you're going to have to watch for that tornado threat, especially towards Izard, Sharp, and Fulton counties, Randolph, Lawrence, also towards Greene and Clay counties. You're going to have to watch this situation very, very closely here. But I'm going to clock this at about, I'm just going to give you guys a heads up, I'm going to clock it about 50 miles per hour, just to be on the safe side, to give you guys as much leeway as physically possible. Mountain View, Ash Flat, Clinton, Cherokee Village, Fair Bay, Cave City, Batesville, Obedient, Black Rock, Pocahontas. This is going to go right around that 4:10, 4:15, 4:20 time frame up here in northeastern Arkansas. Bear with me for just a second. Excuse me. Anywho, this is going to move into eastern and northeastern Arkansas. So you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows. Put as many walls to any outside as possible. Get to the lowest area of your home immediately. And so forth, I'm not taking anything away from central Arkansas. I'm not taking anything away from the rest of the state or anything like that. Pay attention to that alert bar down at the bottom of your screen. If I don't get to your specific county, it's not anything towards you. We have multiple warnings. This is why you have the alert bar now. This is something that Richard, our developer, he took easily 2 weeks to develop this. But this gives you every single watch, every single warning across the state. Know your counties, and also know where you are at this point here. But this is going to tell you all the information that I don't get to at the bottom of your screen here, guys. So keep that in mind. That's a very, very useful tool that we now have for severe weather across the board. But Mount View, it's going to be right on top of you here in just a little bit. It's a severe thunderstorm warning. However, just treat it like if it was a tornado warning. These storms are capable of producing tornadoes at any given moment. Ash Flat, same thing for you. It's going to be 3:47. As a matter of fact, we're going to do this. We're going to switch it from the exact time to how much time you have. So give me 1 second. We're going to switch it to this, okay? So Mountain View, obviously it's on top of you right now. But Ash Flat, you have 3 minutes. Clinton, you have about 4 now. Cherokee Village, you have 6 minutes. Fairfield Bay, you have about 13. Cave City, you've got 20. Batesville, you've got 25. Over towards Obedient, you have about 31 minutes. Black Rock, about 40. And then Pocahontas, you got about 40 to 45 minutes over there. So take those tornado precautions immediately, especially in Izard, Sharp, Fulton, Lawrence, and Randolph counties. Those are going to be the areas of concern up there in northeastern Arkansas at this time here. So just double checking everything right now. As so before, I'm not seeing a single report that this thing is on the ground doing damage or anything like that, which is amazing, amazing news that we like to hear whenever we're dealing with severe weather, especially to this magnitude, because the warnings are there for a reason. But we also like to hear that nothing's on the ground, nothing's doing damage or anything like that. So that's pretty awesome. So the Izard County storm, the Sharp County storm, you're going to have to watch this closely. We're going to come in and just kind of take this out just a little bit. So Melbourne, Oxford, Franklin, Horseshoe Bend, Cherokee Village, those are going to be areas of concern. That's where you're going to have that potential of seeing a tornado over the next 20 to 30 minutes. Take your tornado precautions immediately. Get away from windows. Put as many walls to any outside as possible. Get to the lowest area of your home immediately at this current time here. So we're going to zoom this out, show you guys kind of like radar view on what's going on. I do believe, like I said before, they do have that slight risk over there in eastern Arkansas. It's going to go for the tornado threat, the hail threat, and the wind threat. That's just Shreveport, just kind of reiterating everything across the area here. So right now, as I mentioned before, that's the only tornado warning on the board. I am going to double check and make sure I'm going to take a look at guidance while I have the chance, but I'm going to zoom down to this tornado warning so you guys kind of get a visual on where this specific tornado warning is going to go. So we're going to put our rotation tracker back on, show you guys what I mean. There's the area of rotation. Now, it doesn't look impressive like it did before, but obviously, folks, that doesn't mean squat. You can still get tornadoes to happen. This thing can easily redevelop and it can produce a tornado in a given moment. So we're going to put track I'd say about 40 miles per hour. We're going to put it right through here. So I'm going to leave this up for just a second. And I'm going to take a look at our computer model guidance real quickly here. And I want to see what it's wanting to do. So just kind of give you guys like a perspective of what's going on here. There's your storms northeastern Arkansas. And then it develops more storms down in southern and southeastern Arkansas by the time we get towards that 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning time frame as your frontal boundary begins to work its way in. And then that should put an end to this event. I say your event should be over with by, I would say that's going to be right at lunch. So your event should be over with by the time we get towards the lunch hour here. And they just canceled the tornado warning here. So for the first time in about 2 hours, we do not have any ongoing tornado warnings. So what I am going to do, I'm going to break away from coverage in terms of the tornado warning and stuff like that. However, not live streams, coverage is going to continue on the page. Radar updates are going to continue on the page. And what I'm going to attempt to do before we get any sort of more tornado warnings, I'm going to set up YouTube. That way everybody can kind of tune in and see the updates and everything like that here. So guys, that's all I got at this point. I said before, multiple severe thunderstorm warnings across this area, 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-inch hail up here. Radar updates are going to be non-stop on the page. I want to stress that right now. We're not going anywhere. It's going to be overnight coverage all the way through first part of your Thursday morning. So if you know anybody, make sure they are tuning in with us. But up here in northern Arkansas, it's a 60-mile-per-hour winds, 1-inch hail. We're going to watch that storm up there in Fulton County. We're going to be one click away from going back live. But as I said before, stay patient with me. And then what I'm going to do is on YouTube, we're going to set up kind of somewhat like a constant stream. That way, give me 1 second here. My camera went off for just a second. I'm going to set up a constant stream, just kind of going over everything at this point here, guys. So that's all I got for you guys right now. We're going to continue to keep you guys updated right here, your source for all things Arkansas weather.